afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome here at University of Pannonia His Excellency Ilan Mor, the Ambassador of Israel, State of Israel in Hungary. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. It is a special day, you told me, I don't know why, but still it is more important that you are here. First of all, prior to your presentation, I ask Dr. Hortobágyi to introduce you on the basis of your CV. Go ahead, please.
His Excellency Ilan Mor was appointed as the Ambassador of the State of Israel to Hungary in February 2011 and arrived in Budapest in September 2011 to take up his post. He has previously held a variety of diplomatic posts at home and abroad, several with particular focus on geostrategic issues. Ambassador Mor has served in a number of positions in the Israeli diplomatic service since joining in 1983. Before his appointment as an ambassador to Hungary, he served as senior foreign policy advisor to the Israel Defense Forces Planning Branch Strategic Division from 2009 to 2011. Between 2004 and 2009, he served as Minister, Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of Israel in Berlin, Germany. From 2002 and 2004, he held the post of Director at the Department for the Prevention and Proliferation of Weapons of Mass Destruction and Terrorism Strategic Division at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. From 1998 to 2002, he was a Minister, Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of Israel in Beijing, China. Between 1996 and 1998, he served as a counselor at the Information Department of Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. From 1992 to 1996, he worked as the head of the Information Department and spokesman at the Embassy of Israel in Bonn, Germany. Between 1990 and 1992, he was the first secretary of the Division of International Organizations in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. From 1988 to 1990, he served as a consul for press and information at the Consulate General of Israel in Los Angeles, USA. Between 1986 and 1988, he worked as second secretary at the Embassy of Israel in Monrovia, Liberia. Ambassador Mor holds a BA in Political Science and Working Relations and an MA in International Relations, both from the University of Tel Aviv, Israel. He speaks Hebrew, English, and German. He is married to Ora Mor and has a daughter and a son. Your Excellency, we are extremely pleased to welcome you within the University of Pannonia, and we are inviting you to hold your presentation entitled Israel, Challenges and Opportunities in the 21st Century. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Dear Rector, faculty, students, I'm very happy to be here this afternoon together with you. I met your Rector just a couple of weeks ago and he invited me, and here I am coming here today. And yes, this is a very special day. Actually, I should not be here today because for the first time in the history of Israel, the Foreign Service, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we diplomats are on strike for the second day. We are striking, the ministry, as well as my embassy in Budapest, as well as 102 other embassies and general consulates all over the globe are closed. We do not give consular service. We do not hold this kind of lectures. But and the reason for this is that we demand it's not only a question of money, it's more a question of recognition of our very special way of life as diplomats. And if you, young students of this great university, believe or think of joining the Hungarian Foreign Service, I advise you to think twice. It's not so glamorous. It's not that every day I go on a tour of receptions. On one hand, I have my champagne, the other one I eat caviar, and I have small talk with other diplomats and about nothing. No, this is not the real life of a diplomat. You have listened to my CV, which is more or less typical to the CV of an Israeli diplomat. I served in the last 30 years on 4 continents, twice in Germany, once in China, in the United States, in Africa. And if you think this way of life has only its glamorous, its positive aspects, you are very much mistaken. Because you personally and the family are paying very heavy price for this kind of being a gypsy in a way, being forced to live your life in Israel every 2 years and go abroad and serve your country. It's not that I'm complaining, I'm not complaining. But between not complaining and being discriminated and not being recognized as someone who suffers and contributes to the security of the state, security, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is not measured only by the number of soldiers or the number of tanks or aircraft that you have. Security of the country is measured, among other things, also by your economy, by the level of universities and academicians, but also in the way you present your country in its diplomatic contacts with other countries in the world. Security means also that if you persuade other countries to support your positions, be it in the Middle East conflict or be it in any other issue, if you manage to build coalition between like-minded countries regarding fighting racism, anti-Semitism, building a new world, fighting together the dangerous aspect of cyber terrorism. This is also a very important contribution to your own national security. And believe me, in this regard, I know what I'm talking about. So actually, I'm not here today. Actually, you are not listening to me. Joking. I would like to share with you some thoughts, not necessarily regarding the challenges and opportunities of Israel in the Middle East. I came a little bit early today, and I talked to your rector, and he told me even before about the projects that you are having here in this university, and I find it extremely important. And I find also a very interesting resemblance between the relations of this university and the industry and what is happening in Israel, because Israel, one of the principles of Israel being a leading force in the world in high-tech is the fact that there is a very close cooperation between the industry and the academia. And I invited the rector himself, and he, of course, should decide whoever should join him to visit Israel. We have only 7 big universities. The biggest one is in Tel Aviv, around 50,000 students. The other one is in Jerusalem. We have already the 7, and many colleges. And I invite him to visit Israel on an official visit to establish contacts between universities in Israel and this university of yours. I think that sharing ideas is important for both sides in a framework of a win-win situation. I always say that if I sell you something and you sell me something, so I end up with one product and you end up with one product. But if I give you my idea and you give me your idea, we have 2 ideas. We have 2 ideas. So together we can multiply our ideas. And if we have good ideas, more good ideas, well, it's a win-win situation. So instead of talking about the Middle East conflict, which is for you, especially the young generation of this area and Hungary as well, sounds and looks very remote, 3,000, 4,000 kilometers from here. You read it, if at all, you read it on the newspapers, you watch it on television. Instead of talking about a very imminent, very important strategic danger emanating as we speak from Iran, and I will talk a little bit about it because I must talk about it, because I'm not sure whether you know what is really happening in this Islamic Republic of Iran regarding its activities in the nuclear field. Do you know? Have you heard about it? Well, some of you know, some of you do not know. I will dwell a little bit, I will mention it a little bit later. So instead of talking about this, I prefer to talk about something which I mentioned, but think a topic which is not known as the Middle East conflict. And I would like to talk about Israel as a startup nation. I will later, I gave already a copy of the book, but later I will leave here at the university for the library 2 copies of this book. It is in Hungarian. This is the 25th or the 26th edition, or 26th language in which this book called Israel, Startup Nation has been translated to. I managed to translate it into Hungarian in late 2012, like a year and a half ago. And instead of sending Christmas presents to all the politicians of Hungary, we have also good Israeli wine, not as good as the Hungarian, but not that bad. Instead of sending Israeli wine, I sent all of them, including your Prime Minister and your President, the book, Israel Startup Nation as Hungarian. And I would like to talk to you a little bit about it, and to show you, and to share with you, not as someone who would like to show off. No, I have many reasons to show off and to tell you how good Israel in this issue is, but I would like to share with you this idea because I'm looking always, as I said before, to a situation which are win-win. And if we can learn from you at this university, you can learn from us. As I said, we can enrich each other, and this is, for me, very, very important. So, without talking too much, I would like to start with a question. After all, we are at the university, huh? So, question is needed. I have my smartphone here. The question is, how often, ladies and gentlemen, do you think you touch, when you touch your iPhone, or any other matter, any other gadget, how often do you touch it a day, Israeli technology? Well, I can tell you that even without knowing it, if you touch this, or if you touch what you call pen drive, I call it disk on key because I took it off my key holder. Every time you use your iPhone, every time you use your iPad, every time you use a small pill which has a camera in order to check your abdomen, every time you do it, you use Israeli technology. Each and every one of us is touching Israeli technology, as I said, every single day, many times. Computers, SMS, cellulars, voicemails, flash memory, disk on key or pen drive. We have introduced to the world this technology based upon the fact that we made our credo, our motto, our principle in life after the very basic reality in which if you don't have, you have to create. In other words, necessity has become the mother of innovation for Israel. If you try to visualize Israel over the map, and from geographical point of view, you will see that Israel is, and I will show you later, I have I brought my pen drive not only to show it to you, but to use it. You will see how pitsy Israel is, very small. even in relation to Hungary. We are very small. Half of Israel is a desert. Israel has no water. This year, unfortunately, we have a drought. Israel has no oil. We found some natural gas in the seashore before Israel, but it will take some time until we can make some profit of it. So actually, we are a poor country as far as natural resources are concerned, but we are rich in one thing in which we strategically decided to invest in, and this is the people. That's why we, for example, invest 5% of our GDP annually in research and development. This is why we invest a lot of resources in education. I love the word education in Hungarian, oktatás. I use it many times because I think this is the key of success. So we decided to take our disadvantages and to make it our advantage, to invest in the people. Yes, we have economically, from our economy point of view, we have all the basic indicators in the plus. Our growth, our yearly growth is on average 3%. There were times in which we had a growth of 4.6. Now we are talking about 3.2. But the trend is positive. There is a steady growth in our economy. Inflation, very minimal. Unemployment, too high, but still in the OECD standard, 6%, 6.5, 5.9. One man who doesn't work is one person too many. But relatively to other countries in the OECD, and also always our terms of reference is the OECD, because we became a member of the OECD, and we're proud to be a member of the OECD. It's not something you take for granted. For a country small as Israel, not only by size, we are now a little bit more than 8 million people, surrounded by instability, by countries which would like to destroy us because they do not accept the basic existence of the State of Israel in this part of the world, not to mention Iran, which I mentioned before, and I will talk a little bit about it. So, against all odds, against all the surroundings, the geostrategic conditions, we have been there for the last 66 years, flourishing. There were times in which our economy was bad. In the middle of the 80s, Israel had 450% of inflation. It means when I went in the morning to the supermarket and I bought something, a couple of hours later, the same product didn't have the same price, went up. Luckily for us, we established a national unity government from the left and from the right. One thing we brought the left and the right together was the fear from a disaster in our economy, which meant that we will collapse. So they joined their hands together, and we brought down in a couple of years the inflation, and we made our economy stable. And since then, we are going into the right direction. We changed also the parameters of our economy. If in the middle of the 50s we talked about agriculture as the main motor in our economy, main products were, or agricultural products were export, or the main issue that we export abroad. In the middle of the 80s, we changed it and we became an industry and high-tech industry-oriented country. And we talk about high-tech nowadays, as we speak. There are between 3,500 to 4,000 small, medium, big startup companies in Israel. Can you imagine? And I will tell you, I will share with you the secret of why this number is still there. So coming back to the macroeconomic indicators, we have a very solid macroeconomic platform. We invite foreign companies, multinational companies to be in Israel, and to tell you the truth, they are already there. All the multinational companies you can think of, and your rector mentioned also their presence here, starting with IBM, Cisco, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, excuse me for those I've forgotten, but all of them, and I will show it to you later, all of them are present in Israel. Not only, and Intel is very important, because Intel, as an example, Intel is in Israel not only to sell, but they have made Israel as their production, development and production center, especially Israel, of all countries. Why? Because they, Intel and other multinational companies, have recognized the quality of our software engineers or engineers as such. And I will tell you, I will try to explain to you why we have become a kind of a hub for the multinationals, and why innovation is the name of the game nowadays for Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, we are a busy country, small country, no resources. We invest in the people, but we have also, I have someone who bothers me, sorry. We have also an element in our society which is very, very important and unique, and this is the army. I mentioned before, national security, army, tanks, this is very important. The fact that Israeli youngsters like you are more or less 17, 18 years of age, right? A bit more, okay, even better. At the age of 18, you and students all over the world are dealing with the idea, once they graduate, which university they will attend. Yeah, sorry, I give speech to high school, so sometimes I'm being mixed up. But it's fine. The high school students in Israel at the age of 17, 18, also 19, are dealing with the idea in Israel, not to which university to go, but to which elite unit they will serve in the army. In Israel, the serving in the army is for men compulsory, 3 years, and for women 2 years. So I served 3 years, a little bit more. My wife served, my daughter, my son, all of us. This is our contribution to our society. You probably have heard what John Fitzgerald Kennedy said before he was murdered in '62. When he became a president, he had a speech, State of the Union speech, in which he said, among other things, don't ask what your country should do to you, ask what you can do to your country. This is more or less the motto or the principle in which we see our military service. It's not easy. At the age of 18, in which from the intellectual point of view, you are at the peak of your development, I mean a young man or woman, to be taken out from the school and put in the army, which is a very egalitarian society, rich, poor, big, small, fat, skin. Excuse me, can I, it looks to me it's from Israel. Can I, with your permission? Just 1 second. Hello. Thank God, nothing dramatic. But still from Jerusalem and, okay, coming back, sorry to cut your concentration, but let's go back, try to concentrate again. As I said, we are at the age of 18. It's not that easy to be uprooted from your family and put in a society which is, as I said, egalitarian, big, small, others, black and white. We have black Israelis, we have white Israelis, we have all different kinds from 70 countries from all over the world, but this is another story. So you put them in the army. And in the army, since this is an egalitarian society, everyone has a chance. And if you are qualified, and if you are smart, and if you are with ideas, you can override the decisions of your commander. Ladies and gentlemen, the Israeli army, especially because of the principle of necessity is the mother of innovation, we don't have all the things that we need. We cannot go on the free market and buy them. Yes, we get the supply from the United States, but it's not enough. So we have to rely on ourselves. And self-reliance means you have to ask your people to do the thinking. And the Israeli, nowadays, those who left the army, finished their service, and became entrepreneurs, are those who were educated in the army based upon several principles. First, don't take no for an answer. Think always behind the answer. If your superior says no, yes, it's the army, but try to understand why. And if you do not agree, I'm not talking about discipline, I'm talking about professional argument. And if he says no, try to find another answer. So don't take no for an answer. Don't be satisfied with no. B, think creatively. Think out of the box. Have you heard this phrase? Think out of the box. Because only if you think out of the box, if you think creatively and unconventionally, you will reach a solution which no one had thought of. And maybe this solution will solve a problem in the weapon system, in the intelligence system, in the flying system, or whatever system you need. Point number 3, after don't take no for an answer, after think creatively, the point is that if you fail, the third point is if you fail, it's not the end of the world. Use your failure as a leverage to try again. You failed again, no problem. Try again and again until either you give up, not easy to give up, but then you have to face reality, or when you come to a situation in which you found a solution. So, ladies and gentlemen, the army in Israel plays a very important role in the way Israel, in explaining why Israel has become a major and a leading force in the area of innovation. And what I mentioned before, the pen drive and the SIM card, etc., etc. By the way, the SIM card, most probably the processor in your laptop is Intel, and this has been produced in Israel. And the SIM card as well. So these are one of the military, the armies plays a role in the idea of why Israel, or explaining why Israel has become a leading force in the field of innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, the idea of Israel being an innovation country, innovation state, is being presented in the book, which, as I said, I'm going to leave you with, and I believe that this book can be a source of inspiration for young students, or those among you who would like to become entrepreneurs. October 2013, last year, I conducted the first Israel-Hungarian Innovation Day in Grafisov Park in Budapest, which, to my humble opinion, was a very successful one. And based upon the success, I'm working very hard with some private high-tech companies in Budapest, in groups like Bridge Budapest, if you heard about it, and other. Bridge Budapest is based on the 3 leading high-tech companies in Hungary, Prezi, Logmi, and LiveView, together with NMG, which is the Israeli company Navengo. Have you heard about Navengo? So all 4 companies are united together in order to make use of Israel's ability and success story in innovation. And I will continue to do so as long as I'm here, because innovation and Israel go hand in hand. I would like to continue to tell you two issues which are connected in this innovation field, which Israel enjoys very much. A is the issue of cyber and cyber protection, not to mention cyber terrorism. This is the latest topic of those who deal on a regular basis with the internet, because as much as we want to have open society and internet and Facebook, we have to protect ourselves on a daily basis. I know that the Hungarian government places a lot of importance, or attaches a lot of importance to the cyber protection and cyber terrorism. This is also a topic which our two countries can cooperate. This is an open story or an open secret. When I tell you that Israel is being attacked on a daily basis by this cyber terrorists, be it not necessarily only the military, but the civilian infrastructure, what we call critical infrastructure, be it water, electricity, gas, and banks, the bank system. Every one of us, I mean every country in the world is exposed against this kind of terrorism, and only if we work together, if we unite our forces, cyber terrorism can be stopped. Not be eradicated, but can be stopped. The protections systems and programs cannot be exclusively attributed to only one country. It's a universal effort, and Hungary also contributed its effort to this cyber protection topic by hosting last year the second cyber protection conference in Budapest. The other thing is, which is connected to innovation, I would like to talk a little bit about a Jewish principle, which I'm sure you are not aware of, a principle which has to do with innovation, but goes way back into history, centuries, and this comes from the Old Testament. And this is the principle of tikkun olam. This is two Hebrew words, which in English means to make the world better. We, the Jewish people, the Jewish state, Israel, took it upon ourselves to contribute to the world, to make the world a better place to live in. Why? As I said, necessity made us very successful, for example, in agriculture. And if you go to Israel, and I said half of it is Israel is a desert area, and we live in a semi-arid area which has no precipitation, it's dry, it's a desert. But if you go to the Negev area of Israel, which is the desert, you will see it not as the usual yellow color, but you will see a lot of green. So in spite of the difficulties, we managed to make, as I said, the disadvantage, the desert, into our advantage. I don't want to dwell into the techniques of how to do it, but just to mention one system which has become famous all over the world, which is the drip irrigation system. Have you heard about it? This is the small tubes. Have you heard about it? I mean, the less younger generation or less older generation knows about it. I'm talking the young generation. Have you heard about the drip irrigation? There's a irrigation system which is based on tubes, which gives water directly to the roots of every plant. And by this, you can combine also fertilizers, you combine the amount of water you can attach. And for the same amount of water, you get as double more yield crops than you invest in. So this is a pure Israeli innovation which is famous all over the world. The company name is Netafim, and I think in the very near future this Netafim company will be based in Hungary. personally, I mean directly, not via subsidiaries, but the company will establish its headquarters here, which I think this is something very unique for the relation between our two countries. So, I talked about cyber terrorism, I talked about Tikkun Olam, and why Tikkun Olam, what has Tikkun Olam to do with innovation? Well, all those innovation that Israel or Israeli people invented, and I'm talking about, for example, I go a little bit back into history. Have you heard about ICQ? You haven't heard. ICQ, in English, ICQ, I look for you. This is the father and the mother of WhatsApp of today, or Messenger of today. This was the first instant messages software introduced to the world, and it was invented by 3 Israeli young former soldiers who left the army. They served in a very elite unit, a computer elite unit in the Israeli intelligence, and they left the army with experience, with way of thinking out of the box, with creativity, and they, all 3 of them, were engaged in finding a solution to the very simple question which nobody thought about it at the time. If I have my friends, I want to know at any given moment where are my friends, are they online or offline, and if they are online, I want to know, and I want to talk to them. So they went to Silicon Valley in California, and in a couple of months they came out with the idea of ICQ. ICQ means I look for you. And the rest is history. The American company IOL bought, after 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, this software for $500 million at that time. And believe me, these 3 young entrepreneurs, they don't have to work anymore. They can retire, they could retire at that time. So this is one example of Israel's contribution to the improvement of our standard of living. Have you heard about Waze? Waze, it's a GPS company, software, not as Navigo, totally different. Google bought this software. By the way, you can go to software, to App Store, do Waze, W-A-Z-E. You can download it free, and you can use it. The quality of this software is dependent on the number of the users, because it's also another interesting idea. The GPS gives you the shortest way. Waze gives you not only the shortest ways, but the way which is free of traffic. Because I report that there is a traffic on Route A, and the other one reports that there is a traffic jam on Route B, and the software with its algorithm calculates the best and the free way for you to go. So this is also a software which was invented by Israel. Agrotechnology, I mentioned only Netafim, but there are many aspects in agriculture which has become kind of innovation, high-tech dependent programs. To make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, the idea of looking at Israel as a center of innovation, of a center in which there are opportunities also for young entrepreneurs, and on top of it, learning from us how to think unconventionally, how to use disadvantages and to make them into advantages. I think for you, young students of this very famous university, and I'm not flattering you, you know, I'm just stating a fact that because this university is really known for its uniqueness, not to mention that several projects and the multinational companies which are here. I think this is no doubt for me a situation which both sides should take advantage of. You please visit us. We once we finish our strike, I hope sooner than later, we can arrange a program for you and your people. You can see for yourself, you can decide for yourself, and you can create, with no hesitation, a win-win situation. Ladies and gentlemen, what I was talking about, and I will summarize it in one or two sentences. What I've been talking about is called the Israeli spirit. And the Israeli spirit is characterized by 4 elements: vision, creativity, and people who make decisions and do it, entrepreneurs, and competition. If you take these all 4 components, then you will be in a position to understand why innovation has become a very important component in the identity card of the State of Israel. Thank you for your attention, and now if you have questions, I'll be more than happy to share with you my knowledge, and later, as I said, I will show you a few clips, few few statistics about Israel of today. Israel is not only an innovation hub, not only a startup country, but also a very beautiful country to visit as tourists. And for me as an ambassador, one of my major topics is not only doing business, but also to encourage people to visit Israel. I do believe that to visit Israel, one among you who never visited Israel, but also among those who visited already Israel, it's a must to visit Israel at least once in his lifetime. Among many other things to do while we live is to decide to visit Israel. There are many, many reasons for this. Maybe we'll talk about it later. So again, thank you for your attention, and if you have a question, I'm here at your disposal. Okay, usually there are problems regarding the first question, so let's go to the second one. Yes. Mm-hmm. Wow. It is very difficult question. Well, it's a very good, very difficult question. It's not that I have a recipe here, I take it out and Mr. Rector gives the solution. No. I think, first of all, the book can serve as a source of inspiration. B, visiting Israel. Maybe you ask, diplomats are those people who know very, very little about many, many things. So I cannot pretend that I know the answer, but I can assure you that if you raise this question to the proper people in Israel, at the universities and also in the industry, they will be able to give you some ideas, because you cannot export from other countries or from other societies tailor-made solutions. The solution must come from you. You have to think according to what the guidelines which are applicable to Israel. But maybe not all of them are applicable to Hungary or to any other countries. But the idea of, for example, thinking out of the box is something that you can adopt. Something which you see, okay, let us not stay in a conventional way. Let's think in the other way. Let's think the opposite. Let's play the devil's advocate. Devil's advocate. This is, for example, one element of thinking out of the box. Let's see, and this comes also from the Jewish tradition of Talmud. Talmud is something, it's not the Holy Scripture, it's not the Old Testament, this is the additional experience of the Jewish people throughout its centuries, but when we learn, those who learn this today, nowadays, they always try to see the real meaning of what is written here. Don't take things as they are. Always be critical. Don't agree, okay, because the rector said, I will accept it. No, the rector is a rector, no doubt, but he is a human being. The colonel, the general is a general. Yes, but he's a person. He has experience, but he is an individual. He is a human being. He is entitled to make mistakes as the corporal. So in the Israeli army, you will see a corporal talking to a general or colonel and say, sir, I understand what you say, but I disagree. And the colonel will not punish him. Will tell you, you know what? Let's hear your voice. Let's hear your idea. And if you are right, I will be more than happy to take my rank, put it aside, and to talk to you as equal. This is something a society is characterized. You cannot import it. It is the development of society based upon the principle of necessity. We don't have the luxury not to listen to a small young soldier who has an idea which might change things. So the army, put aside its military and security aspects, is a place as a greenhouse for ideas. That's why these 3 young soldiers who invented ICQ had the vision to do it. Now, with your permission, I will show a small presentation, if it's okay.
Yes.
Good. Can someone help me, please? Thank you. Do we have speakers? Right? This is very, very important. This is our website. This is our Facebook, Israel in Hungary. And this is our YouTube. I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, also faculty, visit us on these 3 websites. Especially these 2 are very up to date. Facebook, we have almost 11,000 likes. Very important for me to have more and more and more. There is a competition on the Facebook. If you register and do like, you might participate in a draw, which we give you, might give you a ticket and 3 hotels in Israel. 1 or 2 tickets, I remember, because of the strike. So go there, and if you want to participate in this competition, fine. If you just want to learn more about Israel, even better. So these are the 2 addresses which are important. Also YouTube. You can see many movies about Israel. You can see me. It's not important. Is someone here called Murphy? Murphy. I will show you a movie which is supposed to come here, where I talked about Israel as an innovation startup, but a simple movie cannot be uploaded, so I'm sorry about it. But I will show it to you later. This is a map of Israel. I was talking about Israel desert is in this part, and look how small pixie Israel is here, surrounded by countries which are unstable. Arab countries, unfortunately. We have peace with Egypt and Jordan. Iran is a country which is very dangerous, not only for Israel, but for the rest of the free world. And I will talk a little bit about it later. This is Israel does not have a constitution, not yet. Even after 66 years, what we have is the Declaration of Independence, which separates Israel as a democratic, as a Jewish and democratic country, which has a democratic parliamentary system. It's a separation of power between the legislation, executive, and the judiciary. The president of Israel is elected once for 7 years. Today's president is, in Israel is, you know? Shimon Peres. Shimon Peres, the only one. The prime minister of Israel is being elected by the parliament every 4 years. And who is the prime minister of Israel? Netanyahu. Israel is a Jewish state, as I said. 75.4% of our a little bit more than 8 million people are Jewish. 21% are Arabs, Christian, and Muslims, and the rest are not affiliated. So by character, Israel is a Jewish state and a democratic one. These are the dimensions of Israel vis-a-vis Hungary. This year we celebrate 25 years of diplomatic relations between Israel and Hungary. In September 1989, Gyula Horn, as the foreign minister, signed the resumption of diplomatic relations, and until now we enjoy relations, very fruitful relations, without any major difficulties, except for the fact that we have an ongoing dialogue with the various organizations in Hungary regarding fighting together anti-Semitism and racism. The overall trade between Israel and Hungary suffered 25% decline compared to 2012. We have to look into the details, why it happened. I think the interest of the Hungarian government nowadays is going to be pleased to get that the only country in this is is also there. I'm sure that the leaders of Hungary know about it, but it's my role, my duty to remind them. These are the companies, some of the companies, which are present and active in Hungary. Which is the most famous one? Teva. Not only because Teva Debrecen, but also because of the fact that 10,000 workers enjoy directly and indirectly working for Teva in 3 sites, in Debrecen, Gütersloh, and another site next to Miskolc. Israel is only 40 minutes flying time from the European Union. And this is, sounds funny, but our relation and connection to this continent, the continent of Europe, has a long tradition, not always positive one, but still, with the European Union, Israel enjoys a very fruitful relation for both sides, even though Israel is not a member of the European Union. This is something that people tend to forget. In spite of the difficulties, in spite of the dangerous situation that we live in, 7 wars, numerous terror attacks, the Israeli people are 8th, or Israel is ranked 8th in the index of satisfaction with life of the OECD, which measures how people are happy with their life in developed countries. We are happy. Our life expectancy is also not bad relative to the OECD. I didn't put the place of Hungary, but if you want, you go and look at it for yourself. it's a little bit lower than the 8. You see, this is the rank. Here is force, then satisfaction and happiness. Tourism. For a small country like Israel, 3.5 million visitors in Israel per year, something dramatic. This is supposed to be a movie? No. I will show you the movie. No. Okay. Can you activate the movies? Okay, now supposed to be a movie. It's okay, I will use another movie. See the subtitles? Yeah. Well, this is a movie which was produced a couple of weeks ago. You are among the very first people who I showed this movie too. This shows the new branding of Israel, not only a country which has to do with conflicts, terrorism and war, which are part of our reality, but there are many aspects, other aspects of Israel which you saw here. You saw colors, different colors of people. You saw other people of Jews and Arabs and Christians, and Israel as a tourist place, etc., etc. So this is one movie which I wanted to tell you, to show you. And the other one is, since we talked about innovation, we want to see a movie about it.
Most a város kellő közvetén vagyunk, tehát ugye arra van a régi városváros, azzal irányba pedig inkább modernebb lakóparkok vannak, és innen arra megyünk, és akkor itt van egy ilyen régi jemeni negyed, illetve a Teoszia. Ez a Shukra Carmel, ami baromi érdekes, hogy amikor 4 óra körül vége van a piacnak, akkor az összes maradékot, ami nem kelt el, leszórják a földre, nem is dobják ki, és olyanok, akiknek nincs pénzük kajára, turisták, hipsterek, akik nem tudom, ilyen, úgy hívják őket angolul, hogy freegan, ide jönnek, és felszedik, és semmi baj a kajának. Hazaviszik, óriási eladokat földre.
And he's a great person. So, ladies and gentlemen, just before we finish, I would like to show you another short clip which goes very quickly from 1948 until today, which highlights some of the events which happened in Israel in the last 65 years. Can you help me? Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Thank you very much. For the special occasion, we prepared something for you. On the one side, we have the coat of Arnold University, and on the other side, something written I cannot read, but your visit is mentioned here.
Thank you.
So thank you very
I will
much.
visit for you. Remembering the visit of Ilan Moore at the University of Panona, West Bern, Hungary, March 25th, 2014. Thank you very much.